Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special bonus episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gabriel.
I'm your other host, Nikki.
And we're here to talk about Knott's Scary Farm. We were very lucky enough to be invited to the Knott's Scary Farm announcement event that happened this past week, and they pretty much just revealed everything they have slated for 2017, and I'm freaking pumped. I don't know about you.
I'm super excited.
So if you don't know what Knott's Scary Farm is, there is a theme park in Buena Park, California, a little down the ways from Disneyland in Anaheim called Knott's Berry Farm. I believe I might get the year wrong, but so haunt fans don't get mad at me. In 1973, they decided to do a Halloween event, and it was a hard-ticketed event called Knott's Halloween Haunt. Knott's Scary Farm's Halloween Haunt. And it's been going on for 45 years now. A lot of the things that people know that are staples of haunts really originated back at Knott's Scary Farm. So it's a staple of the Southern California community to go to this event every Halloween.
It is for us anyway.
Oh,
Multiple times.
We go so many times. It's the classic. You can never get tired of it.
Yeah.
At least for us.
Yeah,
And
you
just go in
especially.
Oh man, I just sit in Ghost Town, just soak up the fog, watch people get scared, maybe get a little grub at Ghost Town Grill.
I always get so sad when you have to leave. Like,
Well, that's because I'm like super depressed.
Can we just walk through Ghost Town one more time, man, please?
I say that about like 3 times, and by the 4th time, you're like, we really have to go.
My
It's
feet
like
are tired
2
at
in the
that
morning. Let's go right now.
But can we just walk down one more time? At that point, even the monsters are like, you again.
Oh, I want to scare
you
you again. But Knott's Scary Farm runs this year from September 21st all the way to October 31st, Halloween night. It boasts 9 mazes, 4 scare zones, 2 shows, thousands of monsters, and plenty of thrilling rides. And during the preview event, they had a lot of the creators come out and kind of talk about what's going on for this year, and it was hosted by Jeff Tucker, host of 91 Reasons, and really the face of Knott's Scary Farm for us haunt fans.
Yeah.
Haunt nerds, really. So let's get started and just jump into everything. Honestly, let's start with some of the returning stuff that's going to be happening here at Knott's Scary Farm this year. So the first returning thing that we have going on is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, for her last performance at Knott's Scary Farm. Returning for the last and final year at Knott's Scary Farm, Elvira is back with a bang in a brand new spectacular farewell show, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. The exclusive performance will pay homage to the Queen of the Halloween's celebrated comedy horror film, complete with a musical number, dance, and humor. Knott's Scary Farm will be the exclusive home of Elvira for her final performance this Halloween season. Now, I don't know about you, Nikki. I'm kind of sad.
I'll be sad if they're not replacing her next year with someone equally as good.
How would you feel about Ed Alonzo?
I wouldn't be that sad.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Elvira's great. We see the show at least once a year. Usually more, and it's like she is a staple and something people like really associate with Scary Farm. But yeah, if they found an act that was on par with her, I wouldn't be that sad.
But Nikki, we're losing our favorite ride at Knott's Berry Farm.
Your favorite ride?
And?
Not ours. Just saying.
I'm still, Jeff, if you're listening, we're still waiting for that bounce house. Just FYI, we're still waiting for the Elvira bounce house. And next up on the list of returning attractions, Nikki,
is Infected. So the synopsis for Special Ops Infected. The city is in need of brave soldiers looking to stop the zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse?
Apocalypse.
The zombie hip hop anonymous.
Yeah.
You get all the hard ones. He gets all the easy ones.
The zombie apocalypse in an all-out war against the undead in this interactive experience, Special Ops Infected. Armed with specially designed laser guns, brave groups of guests will embark on a mission to find the cure for the infection by navigating through sprawling city streets and buildings. The popular attraction includes bloodthirsty zombies, more interactive targets than ever before, along with multiple action-packed surprises hidden around every corner. And more guns, specifically, they said at the event. They said
a lot more guns.
Yeah, there'd be... Was that an issue before? I don't even know.
I'm assuming that the amount of guns really was attributed to how many people could go in a group.
Yeah.
Or how big the groups get and how many go through at once. Because the amount of guns contains how many people are in the attraction at one time.
Yeah.
So if you don't have enough guns, you can't send as many people through quickly.
Yeah.
So the more guns you have, more people you have in the attraction.
Yeah.
Which means that wait times will get lower, which this attraction is notorious for long waits. I know that on a lot of nights we went to Scary Farm, we would just book it to this one because we knew we want to do it, but we wouldn't want to wait. What was it, like 5 hours one night?
Yeah.
It was outrageous. Like, like that's your entire night at Scary Farm waiting for one attraction. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, no, we didn't. We wouldn't wait that long, but yeah,
I refuse.
Hopefully the more guns helps a little. And I got really excited when they said that there'd be like interactive things you could shoot too, you know, not just the zombies.
Well, they had those last year. They just weren't
really
always working
like,
consistently.
yes.
They weren't working consistently, which was the issue.
So that's exciting too. And they said there'd be a bigger like
boss zombie
at the end that you have to fight, which is cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite fun. I know this is one of the highlight attractions of Scary Farm the past few years. The first year they had it, it was in Camp Snoopy. Second year they had it was in Camp Snoopy. Third year is when they moved it into an actual maze, which is great. Mm-hmm. And it's been doing better ever since it's been doing that. For me, the intensity is up. The scares are plentiful because you're in really tight corridors trying to shoot these things and you don't know where they're going to come from. It's just all over just intense. And it brings a nice new level to Scary Farm, and I'm glad to see it return.
Yeah, me too.
So the next maze on our list that's returning, our next attraction, is Shadowlands. Live by the sword, die by the sword. A fulfilling life ensures a soul safe passage into eternity. But what happens to the souls of soldiers slain in battle? The Shadowlands maze invites valiant wanderers to fight off demon samurais whose souls are cursed to rot within the depths of purgatory. Guests will embark on a quest through a sacred shrine, an ancient Japanese temple, and into the midst of the Shadowlands. This is designed by Jon Cooke, the same guy who did Infected, and this was new last year, and it showed up and really blew a lot of people away. A lot of people were not expecting this to be as good as it was. I think everyone was kind of like, okay, he did Infected. That's really cool. He did Paranormal. Both those things were really awesome. Let's see how he does on his third venture out. Let's see how this works. And now he is the poster child for everything haunt related at Scary Farm now. After 4 years in a row of hitting like home runs, and this is no different. Shadowlands is incredible when it's running on all cylinders. Scary as hell.
It's fantastic. It was one of my favorites last year, so I'm excited to see it again and see what they do differently this year.
It was one of the few mazes that we insisted on going in every single time we went.
Yep. Just
because there's so much to look at. It's so funny when you think Scary Farm, the word beautiful doesn't really come to mind that often. You don't think beautiful and scary in the same thing. But this maze was beautiful. It was well executed, and I'm so excited to go into it again because I know there's going to be a lot of things that they're tweaking and polishing, and that thing already seemed really polished, but it's going to be even more polished. And the one big thing that was an issue was the pacing, because there was like a showroom at the beginning. They're going to have 2 now.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Mm-hmm. So they're going to change that up. But, oh man, I am unbelievably pumped for this.
Yep, me too. And then moving down our list, the next returning maze is Paranormal Inc., another Jon Cooke maze. Paranormal Inc. returns to Hayden Hill for another bone-chilling year, featuring high-flying aerial stunts and scares. Guests investigate a haunted hospital where demonic spirits have been detected throughout the mysterious halls, and new, unexpected, blood-curdling surprises are hidden around every corner.
So this is the one that really set Jon Cooke off as somebody who's
one to watch.
Yeah. And to really watch him close to see what he's going to do year after year. Shadowlands was the thing that really solidified him. This is the thing that really started it off. And I think this came out and really surprised people because it's nothing like anything we've seen before.
Well, and there were so many new
or rather, Scary Farm, to be honest.
Yeah, there were just so many new elements that, like, I feel like the other designers who are brilliant also, but, you know, it's like, this is what they do. These are the things that work. And Jon Cooke kind of just broke the mold. He's like, you know what? We're going to have people in harnesses crawling around above you. And so that caught all of the guests off guard. You know, like, what? They're coming from above us now, too. Oh, my gosh. It's just unexpected. that's why it works so well.
And I feel like Paranormal Inc. Was one of the very first mazes in haunt history to really utilize and use correctly, more importantly, technology.
Oh, yeah.
And Jon Cooke does that a lot in his mazes. And it isn't just to use technology for technology's sake. It's always to further along the story or help a scare.
Yeah.
That's always what it's used for. It's never just to be there. And I think Paranormal Inc. alongside, Voodoo, those two mazes were kind of our introduction to haunt, or rather, Not Scary Farm, saying, we're going to put quality into this instead of quantity. And those two were like the first two that we saw that, and it's obviously had its lasting power, its staying power. So I'm happy to see Paranormal Inc. return. I don't think there's going to be too many changes coming to this. I know that they said that they're going to be including some of our favorite ghouls that showed up in the Zozo key room from last year into Paranormal Inc. So that's pretty cool. So I'm assuming Zozo's showing up.
Yeah.
that's probably all what that means, but still, nonetheless,
maybe Zozo will be
awesome.
Maybe Zozo will be in the well room. You know where the demon used to drop down?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that'll be Zozo.
Well, that makes sense because you kind of go to like this satanic area. So that totally makes sense. Next up, we have the Red Barn. The horrifying, blood-soaked Red Barn reopens its doors filled with carnivorous animals seeking to prey on human flesh in the park's goriest maze. Legend has it, the farmer who owns the barn was transformed into a heinous creature who sends his sadistic sons to procure food and new victims. None dare enter the barn, for those who enter never escape. Now, this is one of those mazes done by Daniel Miller. Daniel Miller's really known for his gory mazes. Very, very gory mazes. And this does not disappoint with the gore. It's actually quite disturbing, to be honest, if you look at it from a story standpoint, because it really revolves around the Gray Man, who's like the bad guy of the maze, getting women to be his wives and like reproducing and going on from there. It's quite disturbing, to be honest.
I'm actually pretty excited about this one because I feel like last year it was kind of a last minute addition, so they didn't have like a full year to really flesh it out and think about what they wanted to do, and I think they did an amazing job for the amount of time they had, but to have a whole year to really fine tune it, like, I'm really excited. And didn't they say that they kind of took inspiration from last year's Key Room Prey?
No, that's something else that we have to talk about coming up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mixed them up.
Wrong, Nikki, wrong. Actually, you might be right. I don't know. I just don't remember that info.
So you said no so adamantly. You didn't even know that I was wrong? I'm pretty sure I was right. I
don't remember that piece of information, but I do know that they were talking about taking inspiration from Prey and putting it in Trick or Treat because of the whole lights. That's what I do remember. So I was right.
You were right.
Okay, just checking.
Sorry, but
okay.
You were so adamant that I was right, and then you're like, no, actually, I'm not sure.
I'm
you might be
pretty
right.
sure Nikki's eyes turned red in this moment. For a brief second, Nikki's eyes turned red, and it had like that look of, I would like to murder you at this moment. So, I mean, I am sorry. I love you. Please don't murder me. We have to finish the show.
Just know I'm completely wrong before you so adamantly say I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
I mean, now I admit, okay, I was wrong. But yeah, no, but I am excited about it.
So, Nikki, what's the next up attraction coming back?
The next attraction is Tooth Fairy. So, Tooth Fairy, the Twisted Room. Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Nikki has had this thing happen to her the last few episodes.
I replaced words.
Where you just start saying random words that aren't necessarily written there. So okay, the words say this twisted tooth fairy steals more than just baby teeth, and she probably would have said like 6 different words in there.
I stopped myself.
Yeah,
okay,
you do.
Let's try this again.
Let's get round 2 for Nikki.
I have heat stroke.
It's been very hot in Southern California.
Okay. Tooth Fairy. The Twisted Tooth Fairy steals more than just baby teeth as he drags his victims out of their bedroom window and into a world of cruel dentistry. Unbelievable special effects include a blackout room through which guests must feel their way out, a disorienting X-ray strobe light room, and a final encounter with the terrifying Tooth Fairy himself. Say, ah.
Yay, Nikki did it. Yay.
Okay, can I say?
Go for it. What?
I'm over it.
You're over Tooth Fairy a little bit.
Fairy.
But you also don't like gory mazes that much. They're not your thing.
It's not my cup of tea initially anyway, but like, I appreciated it the first few years, but as you said previously, I'm not sure where you said it, it's a little long in the tooth.
Oh!
It's been around for a few years, and, like, even all of this stuff, like, disorienting X-ray strobe light room, that wasn't working last year.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out the way that it should have last time. And then when it gets busy, they get rid of the blackout room when it's really busy.
Yeah, they get rid of it when it's really busy, but thousands and thousands of people have touched that fuzzy blackout room wall. Now I try to walk through it and not touch anything.
I'm sure someone like actually like rubbed their balls on it.
Oh my gosh.
Like fun.
I thought this is G-rated.
I never said it was G-rated.
I guess we never said that. Sorry. But anyway.
A little from-under cheese going on there.
That's just what my opinion is.
No, and to a certain extent I don't disagree. I think I like Tooth Fairy a little bit more than you do. I love the concept. I think it's terrifying. I think it's creepy. The whole dentistry thing is really messed up. I just think that after 4 years, Maze does need to go, because after having paid so many years in a row, these guests want something different.
Yeah.
As much as you are giving like 2-3 new things, this thing has been around 4 years, and I guess it's like process of elimination. Eventually you'll get to it, but I'm okay with it coming back. One new addition that they're saying they're doing is the finale is actually going to have a real life Tooth Fairy, like a person, instead of an animatronic at the very end. So the finale is going to be completely new, which should be pretty fun. Yeah. And something that we forgot to mention that they, for Red Barn, that they really made a point of saying at the announcement was saying the finale will actually have real chainsaws. And I remember 2 years ago during the announcement, they said, and it'll have chainsaws. And some guy just ran out with a chainsaw, started swinging it around. So everyone made the assumption, oh, it'll be real chainsaws. It was not a real chainsaw. It was a fake chainsaw with sound effects. So the fact that they're saying real chainsaws makes me kind of feel a little bit better, because he's like, the chainsaws are back.
Half the time last year, it wasn't even a fake chainsaw with sound effects. It was just the sound effects.
I don't think we once saw the guy with a chainsaw.
No, we didn't.
Like once. They were never using it. Was it just not working?
I don't know. I just never saw him.
No. Anyway.
Maybe he was always on break.
Maybe. Anyway, back on track. Tooth Fairy. I'm okay with it coming back. I definitely think it's its last year. Mm-hmm. It's on its last year for sure.
Yeah. If
anything, then we have Paranormal Inc. and then something new behind it, and I think that should be kind of nice.
Yeah.
So, moving on past the Tooth Fairy, we have Voodoo Order of the Serpent. The haunting legend of Papa Legba continues as guests follow him and his foreboding journey to conjure the serpent demon goddess in the outskirts of New Orleans. Trudging cautiously through the cursed swamps of the deep south, where creatures search the murky bogs for their next bloody sacrifice, and demons curse the innocent with voodoo hexes. So this is another one that's been around for quite a while, just like Tooth Fairy. So it's been around a while. The one nice thing that they're doing this year with this attraction is they're actually flipping it on us, completely changing it. And where we used to exit is now where we're entering.
What?
And then where we enter was now where we exit.
Oh my gosh.
And it's going to be kind of redesigned on the inside, I believe, to cause it to be a little bit different. Because when I heard first that they were going to flip it, I'm like, well, that's not fun. All the scares are built in particular manner so that you get scared.
Yeah.
So when they said they were redesigning it so that it's kind of helps facilitate the backwards feel, I got a little bit more excited because I like this maze quite a bit.
I do. I love it. And I think it's just pretty.
Like that happens to come up again. It's just like, it's gorgeous to look at.
No, I would say this one is prettier than, what's the other one called?
Shadowlands.
Shadowlands, yeah. I like this one a lot more, like, visually.
It's a different kind of pretty. It's like a blonde and a brunette, it's just like two different things.
Yeah, totally.
So, but also I really like this one, and I don't know if you agree. Last Halloween was really, really freaking hot, like unbelievably hot.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I actually liked this maze more when it was hot because there's actual water in there, and the whole area gets really, really humid, really fast. So it made you really feel like you were in the swamps because it was so humid in there. I felt bad for the actors, but as an experience, that really encompasses you and makes you feel like you're in the swamps, which is kind of cool.
I feel like I'm in a swamp right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a little swampy in here. I know we're recording. It's not that great. I think there's like moss growing on the walls and stuff. Pretty sure there's a gator somewhere in the corner, but I named him Gator, and he's nice. Gator. So Gator. He's cool. He's my friend now.
Why is he named twice?
Because he's that cool that you have to say his name twice, Nikki. I've never called you Nikki.
I'm not that cool. I'm not as cool as Gator.
Nope, not nearly as cool as Gator.
So disappointing.
It's very disappointing. I'm sorry.
Aw.
Gator, she doesn't mean anything by it. Sorry.
No, I don't care about Gator.
And the next returning attraction that Gator is excited for
is the hanging. Fake news. Get it?
Good at fake news? Like fake news? Fake news?
So the hanging is a live stage show on Calico Mine Stage. Irreverently looks back at the year's pop culture with killer comedy, notorious for its special effects, pyrotechnics, and high-flying stunts. The Hanging is a no-holds-barred assault on pop culture's most infamous moments of the past year, a must-see parody.
The Hanging holds nothing sacred and dear.
Yeah.
The Hanging pulls punches on everything that deserves it.
Yes.
For goodness sake, last year they hung Pikachu.
I'm still sad about
Pikachu
that.
was the evilest character that year, and they hung him.
They kind of made this whole fake story about why he was so evil, though.
Yeah, like this whole like Pokemon gym thing and Pokemon Go and all
Yeah.
this stuff. It was quite funny.
It was funny, but I was just so sad they hung Pikachu.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I could compare The Hanging to is Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. It's very similar in a sense
Satirical.
that it's satirical and they're making fun of pop culture icons of that year and really, you know, laying it in hard and not
Yeah.
really holding back. And it's pretty inappropriate. So, I mean, in the best of ways. I mean, they do definitely cross the line a couple times, but nothing ever so egregiously in poor taste. You know, it's always funny.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it definitely does have its moments, though. So, I mean, like, a couple things to kind of give you a taste of, like, what they do is the year that Gary Coleman died, they pulled out a Coleman cooler, which is, like, one of those handheld coolers, and they said they buried Gary Coleman in a Coleman cooler, and they just had legs sticking out of it, and then threw it off of the stage. Or, the year The Dark Knight came out, they had the Joker come on stage and he said, "You want to know how I got these scars? I spent a night at Brokeback Mountain, but that's a completely different story." And then they went on. So it's like jokes like that. Like it's unbelievably inappropriate and probably a little in bad taste, but it's always really funny and really fun. And The Hanging is something that we look forward to every single year.
Oh, yeah.
It's always going to be good. It's always has its different flavors to it every year. I mean, you know, some years are better than most, but it's always going to be funny regardless. It always has its moments. So I'm excited to see it come back.
Me too.
I wonder if the fake news title will actually come into play with it, unlike last year's.
Maybe.
Because wasn't last year's Finding Gory?
It was Finding Gory, but then they got rid of that title pretty quickly too.
No, what they did, didn't they call it
they
The Hanging Finding Gory, and then there was no Dory in it at all, and at the very end they made like a cutout Dory?
Yeah.
The year before that it was The Hanging Straight Outta Compton. Or Straight Outta Calico.
Straight Outta Calico.
Straight Outta Calico. That was the last one that was done on the old Calico stage. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was a good year, actually. I really liked that one.
That was good, yeah.
That was a really good one.
I think this year has the potential. Gosh, the news feed for the past year.
It's just been insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have a lot to go off.
They're going to have to make fun of politics majorly this year. But they can't hang Trump because he's actually the president.
Yeah.
So there was one time that they were going to hang some political figure. I forgot who it was, but apparently the Secret Service actually came over and were like, "Yeah, you can't do that."
Yeah.
And they had to stop and switch it. So I know that happened. But it should be awesome. I love The Hanging, love the show, love everybody who writes it. It's going to be great. So moving on to some scare zones here. The scare zones are what Scary Farm is known for. The scare zones are really what started Scary Farm off and making it iconic, where they used to have these peek-ins in Ghost Town. Someone lost their key to get into their peek-in, so someone just said, "Hey, you know what, just run around and scare people." And that is how scare actors and street monsters became to be, is because of that one pivotal moment in history.
That's
you know, I'm
funny.
sure it would have happened eventually, but like it's such a funny story how it actually happened.
That one guy changed history.
No, yeah, seriously. So now we have the iconic Ghost Town Scare Zone. We have Fiesta de los Muertos, which now is no longer going to be a party. It's going to be a full-fledged scare zone.
I'm kind of excited for that. See what they switch up and see how they really try to be a more legit scare zone. Because half the time, like, those actors just start dancing to the music. Yeah.
That's true. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually really enjoyed the party aspect of it because it kind of gave Scary Farm like this well-rounded feel to
Yeah.
it. You know, you have your scary, you have your fun, you have your spooky. They had a lot of fun things that were kind of involved in that.
It was like a more of a fun scare zone where you, like, that's always where we usually ended up eating dinner. Like,
yeah, because
at
they
the
got
Mexican
great
place,
burritos.
and we would just watch people getting scared while we were eating.
A lot of the time, monsters really came up and just messed with us while we were eating a
Yeah.
lot. That happens to everywhere in Scary Farm, by the way. No matter where you're eating, a monster's going to come up and just F with you
Yeah.
real hard.
Yep.
Especially at Ghost Town Grill in Ghost Town.
Oh yeah, that's our new favorite
which is
spot.
the classic of all scare zones. You can never beat Ghost Town. I don't care what Halloween event it is. I don't know where you're talking about. The scare zone of Ghost Town, you could never recreate and you could never reproduce. It is always going to be the number one for me.
I'd agree.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so good. It's terrifying. And then moving forward, oh, by the way, Fiesta de los Muertos, they said, is going to get a brand new lighting package and it's going to have a soundtrack. So it's going to match the whole area, which is going to be great.
Yeah.
And then after that, we get Carnival, which is back.
Ha ha ha.
And that should be really awesome. And these, like Carnival and which The Hollow is coming back, which is in Camp Snoopy, those two mazes are tied in to two of the new mazes that we have.
The two scare zones.
Oh, yeah, these two scare zones are tied to two new mazes that we have coming this year.
And I think that's really brilliant that they are taking inspiration from the scare zones to create their two new mazes this year.
It's fantastic. I actually really, really liked that. It kind of was like when you had Carnival and Uncle Bobo's and having like a clown maze there and things like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I only wish that they thought about that when they did they did like a Dia de los Muertos maze a long time ago, and it was in the bumper car area. And I wish they had tied that into like maybe their Fiesta de los Muertos scare zone, which would have been really, really cool.
Yeah.
But before we get to the new stuff, let's kick it off with one of the interviews that we got during the night with Ken Parks, the director of entertainment at Knott's Berry Farm. So, hey, I'm here with Ken Parks, Director of Entertainment here in Knott's Berry Farm. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for being here.
Of course, and you guys have quite a lot of news coming out today. We learned a lot and all of the details for this year's Knott's Scary Farm, and I was actually kind of surprised because usually when there's returning mazes, it's like, hey, those are returning, cool. You guys seem to be putting a lot of detail into changing up some aspects of the returning mazes so that it still feels fresh and new. How do you guys kind of approach that year after year so that the event still feels fresh?
Well, that's our goal. You know, I've been the vice president of entertainment now for just over a year, and once Haunt opened. Opening night, we went into a room and started preparing for this year. And one of the things that I said to our designers is that, you know, every time you come to Knott's, you have to feel like we are plussing, you saw something new, you had a new experience. Even if the maze is returning, we have to do right by the Haunt fans and plus the mazes and create new experiences. And so that's our goal. And we've been doing that not only with the Scary Farm, but also with all of the entertainment. So, for instance, if you come to Merry Farm this year, you will see, you might see some of the same attractions, but we will always plus them. So there will always be something new and exciting to keep you coming back. That's the reason you get an annual pass, right, is to come back and see it all.
Oh, I bought mine right when they gave it the offer, so I'm right in that.
Yeah.
But also, as director of entertainment, your role, do you ever find yourself kind of needing to pull the reins in a bit sometimes with designers? Because I know that, it's almost like Blue Sky at some point where they're like big, grandiose. Do you ever have to pull back the reins and kind of figure out how to really make it super approachable for audiences?
Yeah, I don't feel we're in a good position. We are in a spot where we're not super reliant on IP, so we don't have an outside company that's telling us what we should and shouldn't do. We are our own entity. So it allows us to push a little further than I think most folks might. And so I don't really have that often, where we kind of blue sky. I always say to our team that, blue sky it, don't worry about the money. Don't design from a place of money first. Design from a place of creative, and we'll figure out how we can do it.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much. And really looking forward to this year. Pumpkin Eater, all those cool things, or Dark Ride. Man, they're really pushing the boundaries for what Not Scary Farm brings, and that's what I like. It's innovative, it's fun, it's scary, and you guys always knock it out of the ballpark every year.
You're so kind. Thanks for being here. I'm so excited for you to see some of the details of Dark Ride. You mentioned Dark Ride. One of the things that I said to Jon Cooke up front was, if it's a Dark Ride, it has to feel like we could operate it. So I said, you cannot paint a track on the floor. So you'll see something that will have a track with ride vehicles in the middle of that attraction. So I'm so excited for you to, as a fan, for you to see all the details that we've added this year.
Well, I'll make sure to let you know what I think once we go through, because honestly, it's one of the things I'm most excited for this year. I just remember hearing the news, looking to my wife and saying, "That's bleeping awesome." I don't want to use that word on my podcast or the interview.
I don't think I said that to your wife, but I said the same thing.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
That's great.
So cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a great interview with Ken. I mean, honestly, the guy is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I was a little nervous coming up to talk to him, but the guy was awesome.
Yeah, it's a great interview.
So, as we were saying before we went to the interview, we have these new mazes that are thematically attached to their scare zones, which is, like you said, Nikki, it's ingenious. It's so smart to do that.
Yeah.
And so one of the first things that we have, which is attached to the Hollow scare zone, is Pumpkin Eater. Daring guests will attempt to survive the wrath of the murderous 7-foot-tall creature that haunts the old woods surrounding the Hollows in this year's new maze, Pumpkin Eater. The notorious creature is on the prowl, hidden within the dark confines of the haunted town he once terrorized. To escape the sinister Pumpkin Eater's wrath, all who enter must go on a quest through the silent town of victims, face a cave of crawling insects, and solve the labyrinth of thorns that blocks the only way out.
Ooh, labyrinth of thorns.
Ooh. Sounds very Disney-esque, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It reminds me of
also painful if you get it wrong.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. What if you get like a thorn in the tuchus?
Oh,
That'd be terrible.
Gosh. Who says tuchus?
I do.
You do.
And so does Gator. He says turkis all the time.
Oh, turkis?
Turkis, yes. Like a turkey butt.
He has an accent.
Right in the turkis. So we actually got an interview with Daniel Miller, the designer of this maze. So why don't we jump to that real quick before we get into it?
Yeah, let's go hear it.
So I'm standing here with Daniel Miller, one of the wonderful designers here at Not Scary Farm. Lots of news came out today. How are you doing tonight with all these crazy news and details finally coming out? You don't have to hold it all in now.
No, yeah, it's very exciting. I've been keeping these secrets for so long. I've been wanting to say, we actually had this kind of in the works last year. So it's been like a year since we've been sitting on this one. So.
Oh, geez. That must be really rough when you get something so exciting and then you just can't share it with anybody. It's like you're planning a movie and you can't say anything. Don't tell the details. But I've noticed that with a lot of your mazes, you really like fairy tales, it seems like. It seems like you like to pull from that a lot. Is there anything about fairy tales that's really enticing to you that you like pulling from?
Well, the fairy tale aspect is much more about how I think things that we see in our childhood are kind of spooky and creepy, and everyone knows it. It's universal. It's much more about the familiarity that everyone gets. It's sort of like its own IP. It's, everyone knows about Peter Pumpkin Eater. What people don't know is what I have to bring to it, which is this dark, perversion, this not perversion is a bad word, but
I get what you're saying.
This dark horror that is about a person who goes out every year and finds a new wife, and then basically slaughters her, carves her into a pumpkin. And I'm also known for making a really gory maze. This is going to be a very gory maze, a very visceral maze. So, like when you go through this pumpkin, it's like a living pumpkin, and one of my impetuses is I was carving pumpkins with my daughter. And you cut the hole in, and you do that first reach in, and you see those guts and seeds all over your hands, and it's gross. I wanted everyone to go through the maze and feel that. So like there's this visual action that you're spreading those seeds and feeling the guts. There's going to be moist guts in my maze. So definitely I want to bring out more experiences. It's a gorgeous maze. It's super scary, and I think the guests are going to love it.
I don't think you realize what you've done, but you work at Knott's Berry Farm. The Peanuts are a very big character here, and during Halloween, everybody watches A Great Pumpkin. Very famous line. You didn't tell me you were going to kill it. You need to have somebody say that in the maze. It ties in. It's like super meta, right?
Maybe, yeah.
And then also, out of curiosity, I'm going to ask Jon Cooke this as well. Do you guys, as maze designers, kind of have a pool of ideas that you just sit on for a long time that you pull from? Because every year when I hear something new, it's always something that I'm not expecting. It's never something that's within reach. It's like, it's not just a clown maze. It's not just a murderer maze. It's always something very deep and detailed. Is there something that you pull from?
Yeah, so actually the process is actually interesting. We, around a week before Halloween, we kind of have a meeting talking about all the themes that we're thinking about. And we kind of almost one-up each other. And it's like, because I have like around 10 concepts that are yet to be developed. Some float to the top, some are just down there. There's some that I know will never get made. They're just too kooky. But it's fun to do this. It's fun. This is actually the most exciting part of our job. Is usually the last couple of weeks of haunt, thinking of things to do for next year. And sometimes ideas rise to the surface, like Dark Ride. It rose, and we're like, that's a great concept. Let's do that. And Pumpkin Eater, again, as I said, it was in the works for a year or two, but it felt like we really want to plus out the hollows and kind of bring it together, and it was just a natural feel. It was, so.
Was there ever an idea that you had for a maze that you thought, no one's going to go for this? There's no way in heck someone's going to like this. I'm going to say it, but it's just for me. And then everyone loved it. Have you ever had a maze like that?
Delirium was close to that. Delirium was a maze that was nightmarish, and I thought it was too highfalutin. But people just love the fact that, it's just kind of disparate nightmares. And when they started seeing the artwork coming out of it, they were like, whoa, this is disturbing.
Yeah.
Psychologically, I go, this is what I want to do. I want to really kind of psychologically disturb you. And because to me, a normal maze is kind of easy. Just you build a theme, you jump out. But I want people, when they leave, to still think about it, to still go, there's something wrong about that maze. And that's my job. My job is to, on the way home, feel like you've really been screwed up.
And just to end this, I want to end it on a story that you just actually reminded me of. Obviously, Tooth Fairy, very gruesome, very gory, very haunting. I think it was in November, my nephew, who was around 7 or 8, losing his teeth, obviously. And I was there when one of them came out. So he was holding it in his hand. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to put this under my pillow and I'm going to get some money. That's awesome. And in the back of my mind, I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And that's all thanks to you. So thank you so much for speaking with us. Really excited about Not Scary Friend this year.
Thank you. Thank you.
So according to Daniel, we're going to actually have mushy pumpkin guts.
That's so gross.
Yeah, I know, it's quite disgusting, to be honest. But when you think about it, like that moment when you're carving that pumpkin is the grossest moment. And when you think about pumpkins, you think about pumpkin guts, along with pumpkin spice lattes.
It's kind of satisfying when you're hollowing out a pumpkin, just reaching in and grabbing the seeds and guts out.
Like I told Dangle, it's perfect because you say, I didn't think you were going to kill it. It's so perfect when you have this killer monster on the loose, you know? A perfect quote to go along with it, especially because you have the Peanuts characters who are all around the park. A Pumpkin Eater is one of those ones that looks like a classic Daniel Miller maze that's going to be really gory, really fun. And I really like how he ties in fairy tales and nursery rhymes and things like that into his mazes, because he's done Tooth Fairy, which is like an old little story. You know, he's done Pinocchio Unstrung, which is another fairy tale, and he's not stopping. You know, we have Peter Pumpkin Eater as a fairy tale in this new maze, which is really cool. And I really like that a lot.
Yeah, I like it too. It's kind of brilliant taking something so innocent and just twisting it up like that.
I think it makes people cringe a bit, because when you think innocent, you don't necessarily, like, when you think like an innocent nursery rhyme or a story like that, you don't necessarily think murderous monster.
But Peter Pumpkin Eater was pretty messed up to begin with.
Pretty adult.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's cool. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down with some crazy pumpkin eaters.
Oh, I'm super excited to go through this maze.
So, so that one's attached to the hollow. So I'm guessing that area is actually going to be underneath the Stagecoach Bridge. So it's over right to the right near the Camp Snoopy stage.
That makes sense. That means we already saw the facade for it because we peeked.
Is that the facade, or is that going to be like
part
another
of the
little
maze?
portion of it? I'm not quite sure.
Maybe.
If anything, I think you are correct, because the area in which that... Let me take 2 steps back. If you guys looked at our social media, we were at Knott's Berry Farm not too long ago, and we were taking pictures of the haunt build, and we saw that pumpkin face that is in the area where we think the maze is going to go, and we weren't quite sure what it was going to be, because this is before the announcement event.
It's kind of right... It's right under the Stagecoach Bridge, next to the Camp Snoopy stage.
Yeah, like I said 10 seconds ago.
Yeah. Sorry. I was reiterating.
Yes, so it's there, and we weren't quite sure what it was. But now that Nikki mentions it, it actually does make sense that it would be the entrance based on where it kind of sits.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have anything else in front of it, and it's right by the doors that you would need to go in order to get to the maze. Mm-hmm. So that makes a lot of sense that it's right there. Yeah. So it probably is the facade. It's like this really big pumpkin jack-o'-lantern face.
Yeah.
Which should be pretty cool, which is very reminiscent of Cornstalkers for me, because Cornstalkers had a really large pumpkin face that you had to go through as well. That sounded like it was burning. It was kind of cool.
Cool. I mean, it's a pretty neat facade.
Very, very neat. And then after that, we have Trick or Treat Lights Out. Nikki, you want to read the synopsis for that one?
Scared of the dark? Returning more sinister and twisted than ever before, guests are invited to step inside the Green Witch's haunted home and venture through its dark pathways in Trick or Treat Lights Out. Armed with only a faulty flashlight, brave visitors must face the terror of the Green Witch's house completely in the dark. Featuring new state-of-the-art effects, unexpected scares, and other eerie surprises, Trick or Treat is back to terrorize like never before. And this is in the new category instead of the returning category, because although we have seen Trick or Treat before, it really is completely new. It's like a whole new maze the way they have it with something they've never done before at Scary Farm, which is this whole like lights out maze, you know, going through with these flashlights that you have no control over.
And that's honestly really terrifying, because for me, it's about control.
Yeah.
And not having control makes people freak out, especially me.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
So I'm super excited for this.
I'm pretty pumped, and we know a few people that have gone through this already, and they've been raving. They've pretty much said nothing but good things about it, which is pretty awesome. So it's gotten a brand new facade, which is pretty cool. The whole interior, I'm assuming, is going to be similar to a certain extent. I'm sure that they're going to rework some of the stuff to kind of fit more along with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. I think it's really cool to kind of see this maze that was such a fan favorite evolve into something else and kind of still keep its stay here, which is nice. I know that in years prior, not on this show, in other places, I've said that I think Trick or Treat's kind of worn out its welcome. I think it was time for it to go. And if it went, I think it was going to go because they were getting a new icon. And on the 45th anniversary, it makes sense that they're really switching this up, which means that we might be getting a new icon later down the line in the near future.
Towards the 50th, I'd say.
Near probably the 50th, which is, but they're setting it up,
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, because once you redesign this maze, it could go on for another 3 or 4 years at this point. So I'm really, really excited for Trick or Treat Lights Out. I know that we've been in a couple things that are similar to that, and it really is terrifying.
Very unsettling.
It's very, very unsettling. So that's another Jon Cooke wonder.
Yeah.
So,
not his original maze, but he definitely put his spin on it.
oh, definitely. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really great.
Oh, and they also redesigned the tricksters, and I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tricksters are like these demented different versions of each other now. Like there's a rabbit and all these weird things. It's pretty awesome. We have pictures of them at themeparkduo.com.
Yeah.
If you look up the announcement for Trick or Treat Lights Out. So in our haunt section. Yeah, there's like a rat and a possum and all this other stuff, weird stuff. There's like a baby in a diaper or something.
Yeah.
So the next big thing that's coming up that's brand new is the Timber Mountain Log Ride Halloween Hootenanny. So the famous Timber Mountain Log Ride is going to be getting a family-friendly Halloween layover for Halloween, which is very cool. So it's going to be the Halloween Hootenanny, because they're already going to a Hootenanny in the ride. Might as well make it a Halloween Hootenanny. And so it's going to be family-friendly, which is really cool. They're going to have, jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins. The lift is going to be a foggy face with teeth made out of wood. They'll have a lot of spiders and spider webs on the inside. It's going to be pretty fun. And apparently, at night, it's going to get a little bit spookier. They're going to have some real live monsters in there scaring people. So, Drink Scary Farmer gets a little bit spookier, but it's a family-friendly layover to our favorite log ride. So
I'm excited for this too.
I got really excited.
Yeah.
I got really excited when they said this, because I really like having holiday layovers on attractions. Like we're used to Disneyland, where they do holiday layovers all the time. And they have, Haunted Mansion Holidays, they have Ghost Galaxies, they have, for Space Mountain, they have Hyperspace Mountain for Space Mountain, they have a whole bunch of cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And finally, Knott's is jumping on board with this. That's like a family-friendly layover that's all year round, which is really fun. I know that they do it kind of for like Christmas sometimes, which is kind of fun. But I really like the family-friendly, like spooky Halloween feel that they're going for here, which is super fun.
Yeah.
So, the last brand new thing that they have coming up, we saved it for last.
Because we're kind of excited about it.
Because we're kind of insanely excited for this. And the only thing that I could definitely say is that when they announced this, when Jon Cooke announced this, because this is his baby, I literally leaned over to Nikki and I said, "That's effing cool."
Yep.
Which I told Ken Parks before we were recording. Or I might have been recording. I don't remember. It might have been already played. But yeah, it is incredible. So, Nikki, do you want to read a little bit of this new one for us?
Yes, I do. Guests will journey through an abandoned carnival ride where cruel characters still linger in the shadows in Dark Ride, Not Scary Farm's newest maze. The carnival attraction has become a refuge for sideshow freaks, and now those shunned performers have created an anonymous world where they plan to unleash terror on those who enter. Dark Ride will lead brave visitors through a treacherous path and into the bowels of a long-neglected attraction as sinister shadows and horrifying scenes cast darkness over the once pleasant ride.
So we have a very nice interview with Jon Cooke that we'll let you guys listen to right now. So it's Gabe here, standing with one of the haunt designers here at Not Scary Farm, Jon Cooke. Incredible news tonight, man. How you doing with all this crazy news?
I'm just excited, and I'm excited that we finally, get to get it off our chest and get to share it with everybody and let them know what to expect this year at Scary Farm.
Yeah, every year I'm always really, really impressed with your guys' announcements, because every idea just feels so fleshed out, so detailed. And I'm curious to know how that process is from the beginning, because how daunting can that be to be looking at, once again, another clean slate? How do you mentally prepare yourself, and how do you get through that?
Well, it's always a little daunting, as you said, and overwhelming at first. The benefit of having this announcement event this late is we're already building the maze, so it's already flushed out, you know. But leading up to that, I mean, we started designing Dark Ride in November, not even joking. Like before Haunt even ended last year, the gears were turning. So from there, we just sit down, we just break everything out, we start breaking it down, we start creating the story and just plugging away. And before you know it, the maze is done.
Lucky. And then how did the idea of attaching it to these scare zones come about?
I think it was just dumb luck, really. You know, when I had the concept for Dark Ride and when Daniel had the concept for Pumpkin Eater, I don't think it wasn't intentional that, okay, let's directly tie these, but when we were looking at our lineup and what mazes to retire, and we had these new concepts, we're like, this is perfect, let's pull the trigger on it. So, you know, Dark Ride, I think, could have worked anywhere, but it's even better that it's in Carnival.
And with Dark Ride, what are some of your favorite things that you think guests are going to be really excited to see in this thing?
Oh, so far what I've noticed from building, it doesn't feel like a maze. It feels like a ride.
Weird. That's awesome.
And it is weird.
It's different.
It's different,
Which
and
is
that's
good.
what I always strive for with all my stuff. Another really neat thing that we're doing through our show control is we're tying everything together. We're tying the lights, the audio, the special effects. It's all one unit. And we're going to make the ride actually breathe. So it's going to be fluctuating in power, and all the lights and audio are going to be and the effects and all that are going to be popping on and off together. I think it's going to be a really neat new approach to theming as well.
And with your designs, a lot of people know you for using a lot of different technology in order to tell the story, in order to help the scares. When it comes to Dark Ride, was your process any different than any other maze, or are you kind of designing and then you say, oh, this is a really good spot for a piece of technology to really enhance the scares?
Yeah, so this one I think will definitely stand out from my attractions. I think they all do a good job at standing out from each other, but this one particularly, all I wanted to do was empower the actors. I wanted this to be an actor-driven attraction, and I literally, since I'm a past monster, I designed for me and what I would want as a monster, and it's literally a jungle gym for these crazy, crazy actors to come in and just be maniacs. And then, of course, when looking at the actual aesthetics and stuff, what I could do to make a difference, and then the overall show control technology, like I said, we're designing a 1970s cheesy Dark Ride, but it's a very, very highly technically advanced attraction.
And lastly, the same question I asked Daniel. Out of curiosity, do you have a pool of ideas and inspiration that you pull from? And if so, what are some of those inspirations?
Inspiration comes from everywhere, and it literally has came from everywhere, whether it's video games with Infected or personal travels to Japan with Shadowlands, or just cheesy ghost hunting shows with Paranormal. It comes from everywhere, and it's all about just immersing yourself in the Halloween festivities and seeing where that inspiration comes from.
Well, I'm very, very excited to experience Dark Ride. Like every other maze that you've designed, everything has been very unique, very different, and such a fun experience because you never know where that scare is coming from. And as many as the hardened people who just say, I don't get scared at these events, I always see them screaming in yours.
And mark my words, trick or treat. It's going to be the sleeper.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to Scary Farm 2017.
Thanks, man. See you soon.
So what I love the most about this is from what Jon said, in the interview and a lot of other things, he said that it doesn't feel like a maze and that it feels like this ride that you're going into feels like it's going to turn on at any moment. Like it could be a real dark ride. And I know that he said that he's really, really proud of what they've been doing. And I am unbelievably pumped. I honestly don't remember one time in the history of Scary Farm that I've been this excited for something.
I'm unbelievably excited. I'm kind of obsessed with abandoned rides and abandoned theme parks.
You're weird.
I am. Like, I look up pictures and stuff online of like abandoned theme parks and videos and stuff. It's just so cool and haunting, and just the thought of something that once was so like joyous and loved just like falling into disrepair and just being abandoned like that, it's just so creepy. And so just the concept of this maze and the fact that this abandoned ride is not quite so abandoned is just so creepy. I love it.
It's a unique theme that I definitely probably wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
Because usually when you think of Halloween, you think a lot of the cliched ideas and things like that. And now that we've seen like Pinocchio Unstrung, you think of fairy tales. Didn't ever really think of Dark Ride as one. And that's such a cool and unique idea that, you know, I feel like there's so many things that you could do with it. Maybe, and even if it returns so many years in a row, you could definitely change it up, you know, and really reinvigorate it with other stuff. I think it's one of those things that's going to have lasting power.
Maybe they got inspiration when they were starting to build Iron Reef and they were gutting up there.
It's probably terrifying with all those like half-dead dinosaurs. Not that they were living, but you know what I mean? Like they're falling apart and their skin's hanging off and crap. They're probably terrified.
Maybe that's where they got their inspiration from.
I mean, that makes sense to me. I think that's great inspiration. So, I mean, I am unbelievably excited for this new attraction coming to Scary Farm 2017. Once again, attached to the Carnival kind of theme, having that ominous dark ride in the distance. And it's going to be in the Boardwalk Ballroom. And apparently, it's taking over the entire Boardwalk Ballroom. Like, it takes every inch of it.
Yeah, because even when Dead of Winter was in there was a whole section that they didn't use. So
yeah, so someone said that they think it might be one of the largest mazes in Scary Farm history.
Oh, really?
I don't have any hard and facts on that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the square footage of any of the mazes, but if they're using all of Boardwalk Ballroom, every single inch,
it's gotta be pretty big.
It has to be freaking huge.
Yeah.
So, really excited for this one. Really excited. And honestly, that's pretty much it.
That's it. That's
coming to the Scary Farm. That's coming. That's everything. So we're both really looking forward to Scary Farm. And if you guys want to go to Scary Farm, make sure to head to Knotts.com. Check out all the offerings that they have there for Scary Farm coming up. I know that they have the Knott Scary Farm Pass, which has returned, and it gives you unlimited visits to all 25 event nights. Current 2017 Knott's Berry Farm season pass holders can purchase the pass at a limited time price of $80, and non-pass holders can purchase the Scary Farm Pass for just $90.
Well, I'd recommend the pass.
Honestly, think about it. Let's lay this out. Let's lay this out for them, Nikki. We're looking at Halloween Horror Nights tickets right now.
Yeah.
A front-of-the-line ticket to Halloween Horror Nights for one night least can cost you $165.
Yes, and it just goes up from there.
And it goes up from there, depending on the night. All nights of Scary Farm, you can get for $90.
Yeah.
No blackout dates.
Yeah.
And there will be plenty of nights where you're going to be able to do everything, as well as nights that are going to be so busy that you're going to just want to chill at Ghost Town Grill and watch the monsters scare everyone and eat your grub. You got a burger. Sometimes they have specialty food there for Halloween. And it's a fantastic time. So I think this is unbelievable value.
Yeah.
Unbelievable value, especially if you're local, close to Knott's Berry Farm, or if you just like scary stuff. Just sit down and watch people get scared. You only get to do that one time a year. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, as well as on top of that, they have single night tickets. Buy tickets at NottScaryFarm.com and save up to $35 off the regular main gate price of $75. So that's a really great price.
That is.
And you could buy online as well, which is pretty nice. Then this year, they don't have Skeleton Key. There's no Skeleton Key, but their Fright Lane, which is their front-of-the-line access to all the attractions, unlimited amounts, unlike the front-of-the-line for Universal, which is only one time. It's conjoined with Fast Lane now. So now you have unlimited amounts of rides that you want to go on that night too. So if you are dying to go on Ghost Rider at nighttime and you want to go on all the mazes, buy this thing. And the description is, for the first time ever, ride and scream all night long with unlimited priority access to all the mazes plus priority boarding on all Fast Lane attractions. Fast Lane starts at $80 and varies by night. So that's not bad. You could also get combo tickets, which is the general admission as well as the Fright Fast Lane. And then you could also do the thing that Nikki and I do multiple times a year. We go to the Scary Farm buffet at early entry.
So much good food.
It's so good. So, offered at Mrs. Knott's Chicken Dinner Restaurant and Spurs Chop House, munch with monsters before Knott's Scary Farm opens each night. Meals include a 2017 souvenir bottle, which includes unlimited complimentary refills on the event night and $1 refills for the rest of 2017. After dinner, enjoy early entry into the select parts of Knott's Scary Farm a few minutes before it opens to other mortals. Buffet dinner is $28.99, applicable taxes and fees when purchased online, and $33.99 when you're burping like I just did while we're recording.
You're burping so much tonight.
It's $33.99 plus a burp. It's $33.99 plus tax, and when you buy at the door. Separate theme park admission required, honestly, for this one. But this is the one thing that whenever somebody decides to go to Scary Farm for the first time, I implore them to get this.
It's so worth it.
Tell them you have to do this. This is part of the experience. You get to mingle with the monsters. They come up and sit down with you and, talk to you and scare you and take pictures with you. You don't often get to take pictures with monsters at Scary Farm anymore. This is your only opportunity, and why wouldn't you want to gorge yourself on unlimited Mrs. Knott's chicken dinner?
What I tell people, you're going to eat dinner that night anyway. Probably out if you're going to Knott's Scary Farm. So you might as well get a huge buffet, salad, dinner, dessert, coffee, drinks, whatever you want, plus a refillable souvenir cup, plus interaction with monsters, plus early entry to the park if you get one of the early dinners.
And if you want to, you could sneak a couple cookies in a napkin, put it in your pocket.
Gabe does that every year.
Maybe.
And all of that for $30. Or less, a little less than $30. It's insane. It's like, I can't believe it's that cheap. So we do it every year, sometimes more than once.
Yeah, it's such a great deal. And I cannot talk any more good about Knott's Scary Farm than I can ever do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my favorite thing in life, really.
Okay.
That's maybe that's a little bit scary. So my list of favorite things in the world go Scary Farm at top, then there's Nikki, and then underneath that is Disneyland. So Nikki's sandwiched between two theme parks,
and then Gator,
and then Gator, which may or may not be luggage by the end of the night. So we'll see what happens. I said that earlier, and Nikki's like, "But you love Gator. He's so nice. You named him twice." Gator's going to be a nice luggage and or shoes, either one.
Luggage. I don't think you can pull off those shoes.
But the Gator's not going to be like part of the like the Fed's not going to be on the shoe.
No, I'm just that style of shoe at all. I don't think.
What about a belt?
Fine, a belt.
Suspenders?
Not Gator suspenders.
Gator underwear with the tail hanging out, like I wag my butt and like the tail kind of wags around.
No.
Why not? I'm totally doing it. It's happening.
Okay.
No questions asked.
Yeah, do it.
It's gonna be the best. You're gonna regret saying that's a bad idea. It's gonna be great. But seriously, Scary Farm is probably one of my favorite things in the world, and it is so much fun. And I always tell people who have never gone to Scary Farm that you at least need to experience it once. It is a unbelievable fun amount of things to do, and just a really fun experience to be with your friends and all scream together, especially if you like getting scared.
Yep.
So don't hesitate. If you're thinking about going to Scary Farm, pull the trigger, buy your tickets, and go. Go early in the season, show up early, get your buffet, gorge, and scream, then maybe throw up because you scourged too much. But don't gorge too much and experience the scariness that is Scary Farm. Seriously. So that pretty much ends the episode. Honestly, we just wanted to throw out this bonus episode for everybody because we're so unbelievably excited for Scary Farm.
And we just had all of this new information thrown in our lap, and we just had to share it.
Exactly. And then also the awesome interviews that we got, which, by the way, thank you to Knott's Berry Farm for inviting us to the event and allowing us to get those really awesome interviews for all of our fans who listen and all of the Scary Farm fans, stuff like that. So thank you so much for doing that. And before we end the show, I just want to throw out a couple shout outs, obviously. First shout out, definitely going to One Little Spark Podcast. He's Rich over there has been unbelievable in his partnership with me and working together and really collaborating a lot of stuff. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff coming up, and he's always giving us shout outs on the show. And, I know that he said that we're some of his closest friends and we haven't even met, and we've bonded over the shows and a lot of similar interests in Disney and Disneyland and Walt Disney World and stuff like that. I feel the same way, that he's become one of our closest friends just so very quickly.
And stay tuned, he'll be on our next episode.
Yes, I wonder what that could be about.
I wonder.
Disney. So, But shout out to One Little Spark Podcast. If you guys have not checked them out or listened to that show, you need to do it. Go to iTunes, type in One Little Spark Podcast. It's an incredible Disney podcast. So, and then the other shout out I have to give to is to Zach over at the Nightmare on Fear Street podcast, and he does a Goosebumps podcast. So for me, growing up reading Goosebumps, it's such an interesting thing to listen to because you get to listen. He just interviewed the guy who did all the illustrations for the original Goosebumps series, which is awesome. And then they read through the books too, so they do a lot of the choose your own adventures and see who dies. I mean, I was on a show at one point and did one that was all Indiana Jones themed. So, and he's been pretty incredible. We met him for the first time in person on the Queen Mary. He was awesome. I got his name wrong when I said that because we recorded right when we got home and we were delirious.
Yep.
I called him Kevin, I think.
Yeah.
But it's
we know
Zach.
who you are.
We
Zach.
know who you are. We 100% know who you are. So shout out to you. Listen to the Nightmare on Fear Street podcast. He has a great show, and especially if you love Goosebumps, make sure you do it. He has a couple really cool episodes where he actually got to meet R.L. Stein. So that was
cool.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. So I just wanted to give those two people shout outs. And for everybody listening, thank you for listening to the show. We always really appreciate it. You could always leave us a 5-star written review on iTunes. It always helps us out, and it makes it easier for people to find the show and enjoy it like you guys are right now. So we'll shout you out and we'll praise your name to the heavens if you do that for us.
And we'll say thank you.
And we'll say thank you more importantly. But we'll always do that. And then if you guys are looking for us on social media, you can find us at Theme Park Duo on
Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And Periscope.
We just Periscoped today. It's Sunday from Universal Studios. We just bought passes.
Yeah, butterbeer all day, butterbeer on my face. So
literally throws it in his face. It was so
I buy
hot.
it and I just throw it at my face, cup and all.
It was so hot. He just threw the whole cup in his face.
Pretty much.
And you were sticky there.
I just dumped it all over me. Pour your butterbeer on me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sticky now. So we did get Universal passes, so we're going to be doing a lot more Periscoping at Universal and some more updates from Universal, so look forward to that. And you can look at the replays on Periscope if you follow us and subscribe on there to our fun, silly adventures that we like to do at theme parks. So a lot of people tell us to vlog.
Yeah.
I have no time for that. I edit on a daily basis. That's my day job.
And that means I'd have to look nice. Like, you don't want to see me the way I
People
look right now.
say you look cute all the time.
Well, yeah. That's when we're on Periscope.
That's
try
true.
Then. Now we're in our 100-degree office, and I am not camera ready.
She is not camera ready. But, I consider the Periscoping kind of like a vlogging thing, but just live, and I don't have to worry about it afterwards. It is what it is, and I say what I want, and then there you go.
Yeah.
So make sure you check us out on Periscope. And Nikki, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter, and my username is...
She's blanking.
Nikki M_313. NIKKI.
Yay, Nikki, remember.
I haven't been on in a while. I'm sorry if anyone did a Follow Friday the other day. I didn't.
They did, and you should look.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh. Oh, by the way, speaking of Follow Fridays, one of the other Twitter accounts that usually throws us into Follow Fridays that definitely deserves a shout out is Theme Park Conquerors. They're amazing. They always throw us into Follow Fridays, including our personal accounts, which is really awesome. And then also, who's been including us as well as the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, which I've been binging their episodes in preparation for our visit to Halloween Horror Nights, because I know that Darren does the Dead Man's Digest, which is great. So you want to check both of them out, Theme Park Conquerors as well as the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. So, and then above all of that, you can follow me, Gabriel.
Oh my god. So dramatic.
Very, very thespian.
I don't know what's
very
just
thespian.
gotten into you.
I feel like I should be holding a skull in my hand.
What just happened to you?
I don't know. I got really into myself for a hot second.
You did. He basically is like, forget that other woman. Come follow my Twitter.
But yes,
Gosh.
do it.
Oh my gosh.
You can follow me at Laker793 on Twitter, and like both.
I'm so glad you're back down to earth.
I floated way too high, got too close to the sun, and the wax on my wings melted as I fell and burned, just like Icarus. Just like Icarus. Wow, this show goes many places. From Gator to Icarus. It is a thing that happens. But yeah, and then you could look up everything you need to know at themeparkduo.com. But most importantly, everybody, remember there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya!
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.
Hi, Fringies. Seymour here, and I've got a swell deal for you. October 26, 27, and 28, I'll be at Knott's Berry Farm's spookiest, eeriest Halloween hunt ever to hit Southern California. Knott's is completely transforming their funny farm into the eeriest place you'll ever experience. They'll have bats screeching, witches cackling, skeletons rattling, corpses laughing, spooky fireworks, and monsters monstering. Yes, I said monsters monstering, plus Satan's log ride with creepy, heart-stopping, spine-tingling live monsters. And here's the real spooky special. On Friday, Saturday, October 26 and 27, from 6 to midnight, 6 spooky hours of unlimited use of all attractions for only $4 if purchased in advance. And that includes me, Fringies. Don't miss Knott's one-of-a-kind Halloween hunt. Save by purchasing your advance tickets now at Wallach's Music City stores, Liberty Ticket Agencies, and Knott's Berry Farm.